Okay, I'm sorry I'm so late with the salted caramel video, but I will show you how I made it right now. The first thing you want to do is get your cream as well as your unsalted butter to room temperature. So I'm going to have these guys sitting outside while I melt the sugar. Then I'm measuring about 1 cup of white granulated sugar. This is for 1 cup of caramel. My pot is on medium heat and I'm going to add the sugar. I'm going to be honest with you guys, this part takes a while because you want the sugar to melt and become an amber color, but not burn it. While I'm waiting, I'm going to measure out 1/2 cup of cream. Heavy cream, whipping cream. I mean, if you're from Canada, it's whipping cream, I think. I've also cut up my butter, so this is 6 tablespoons worth. At this point, you can see the sugar is slowly starting to melt. So again, just keep mixing so that it doesn't burn. Also, I know it's tempting, but please, whatever you do, do not touch hot sugar. It is really gonna burn. You're gonna get to a stage where it looks like this. Don't worry, those clumps are gonna melt. Just keep stirring every now and then. Okay, sugar is all melted and a nice amber color, which means we're ready to add our butter. So my caramel, my sugar, is off the heat. I'm now gonna carefully add in butter and then start whisking vigorously. And you're gonna notice that it starts to bubble. That's a really good thing. Butter is incorporated, so now I'm back on the heat and I'm gonna add my cream. And then again, whisk that all together. Hopefully you guys can see that we now have a really nice caramel color after adding and whisking in the cream. The more you keep it on the heat, the thicker it's gonna get. And to make it salted caramel, I'm gonna add a teaspoon of salt. To help it thicken, I brought it to a boil and then I'm gonna turn off the heat, give it one nice stir again, and then just let it cool down. At this point, you're just gonna wait for your caramel to cool down and then you can either use it right away or I usually just put it into a mason jar until I wanna use it. Okay, you guys, here is the recipe for the cake that I made for my boyfriend's birthday. The first thing you're gonna do is separate your eggs. Highly recommend having them at room temp. And then you're gonna combine your cake flour, your salt, your baking powder, and set that aside. I'm using a KitchenAid, but you can use a hand mixer, but you're gonna whip your egg whites until stiff peaks. That's very important. Set that aside and combine your sugar and softened butter and combine them until light and fluffy. Now you're gonna add in your salted caramel, and yes, I'm gonna make a separate video about this, as well as your egg yolks, and whip again until light and fluffy. Slowly fold in your dry mixture, going half at a time so it's not too complicated, and then fold in your egg whites once all incorporated. It's really important to be gentle here because you don't want your egg whites to deflate, as that's what gives you a nice and fluffy cake. Add the cake batter to a greased pan and bake for about 23 minutes at 350 degrees. While that's baking, you're gonna prepare your milk soak, which is obviously 3 milks plus salted caramel for the flavor of this cake. You're gonna use evaporated milk, condensed milk, and cream, or half and half depending on what you have access to. Make sure to give that a really, really good whisk. Okay, and then you're gonna stab your cake a bunch of times when it's done so that your milk mixture really soaks through. It looks like a lot of liquid, but trust me, it does soak in, and that's what makes the cake so delicious. Then let the cake sit in the fridge for a couple hours and we'll be back for part 2.